Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today I actually have a replay from Anchor Tapstrider. I actually had to go and get a replay because unfortunately for me life stuff has happened, and I wasn't really able to play that much of World of Warships, so I wasn't really able to do what I was hoping to do and do a video regarding like the Ranger. So we're gonna have to go with a user replay, and this battle is actually a really good battle. High props to Tapstrider in this battle. It gets a little insane. So starting off, obviously he is in the tier 10 IGN Yamato with the premium camo. Very interesting. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's still a nice camo all the same. He is divvied up with a Kaba, and this battle starts off very slow. Now they are obviously in a tier 10 match, Sea of Fortune, and things are going to be, well, they're going to get a little crazy, but it is going to take a little bit of time before we even get there. So tier 10 Yamato is still the powerhouse of the battleship line, and obviously since the update all battleships have got nerfed in regards of their detect. Now everything gets only a 10% buff from the concealment expert from the captain, and therefore the detect of the Yamato is a whopping 14.6, I believe, 14.1 kilometer range. So not as stealthy. Granted, she was never really a stealthy battleship, but still, it's quite crazy that you're detected from so far away. However, I kinda I have no idea why they did this. I'm not a big fan of it. Granted, it might prove beneficial in the long run, but we'll see. Anyways, Tap is currently moving towards the western side of the battlefield and has spotted a Minotaur, does pop his scout plane, and the planes actually on ships have been nerfed as well. If you haven't noticed, the scout plane is up for a minute and 30, which isn't too bad. But for the fighter planes, that has been nerfed the most. Now planes are only up for about 60 seconds for cruisers, which is not something I'm really a big fan of. Now he did try to take a blind shot against that Minotaur, and that's a tactic you can definitely use with a scout plane. That does allow more precise hits on enemy ships whenever they are hiding in smoke. And incoming torpedoes, it looks like it's probably from the Grosvoy, and the Grosvoy is actually divvied up with that Minotaur. Does take a torpedo, does rep it, but this Grosvoy is pretty much screwed. There's not much it possibly can really get away with. Does have a Edinburgh as well as the friendly Kaba dealing with it, and once again he's currently focused on the Minotaur, trying to get shots off, but unfortunately I think mostly the island's going to block most of his salvo, actually all of his salvo, so he didn't actually manage to get a good hit, and the friendly Edinburgh is currently not feeling so hot. Now the friendly team is ahead in ships. They are slightly behind in caps. They are currently working on trying to deal with the ACAP, but obviously that is a Kaba, and the Kaba is not a very stealthy destroyer. Really shouldn't be calling it a destroyer. It's definitely more so a light cruiser more than anything else. Fortunately for that salvo, it doesn't really get any major damage against that Tago, but this Tago is not in a very good position. Now I will have to say the Salem probably really should be focusing on this Tago. That's more of a threat for the friendly destroyer than just shooting HE at a Montana. Once again, salvo out. Tago is smart, slows up, and only takes a slight over penetration. So once again, this battle kind of starts off very slow. So far, the friendly team is even up with the enemy team. They are currently working on taking C. The Z-52 on the eastern side is taking control of C. You have to be careful, obviously, because of those torpedoes incoming from the Otago, but TAP should be fine, should not have to really worry about that, because those are 10-kilometer torpedoes. So no way TAP was in real immediate danger from that. But he does have to be careful. There is a Yamato starting to push more west. And let's see if he can actually get rid of this Otago. This poor Edinburgh. Oh my word, he is extraordinarily lucky. Edinburgh is probably thanking his stars that he's still alive with only 1,274 points of health. This Otago just won't go down either. And I will have to say, that I didn't watch the majority of this battle. I only saw bits and pieces of it just to make sure it was something I would find interesting. Hopefully you guys find interesting as well. So at that time, friendly team has just lost two of their ships, two more ships. So now they're down 2 ships. Their Z-52 and their Edinburgh, which I think the Edinburgh went AFK, and it's actually going to be something that is going to be quite prevalent in this game, as you will see. So TAP is starting to continue pushing in. He does have to be careful of that Yamato. Don't know where that Yamato is. He does have Massachusetts backing him up, as well as Salem. Yamato turned around, and let's see, is his guns actually facing the proper direction? Ooh, no. Oh no. Oh no. Looks like he does not have his guns in the right direction. And one thing I did not actually really mention is TAP here is actually taking the Yamamoto captain out. And this is actually going to prove very beneficial here in this game. It's going to actually help him stay alive. Hint, hint, hint. So, team is still losing ships. They've just lost their North Carolina to the Daring. The Yamato is running away. Does focus on the Massachusetts. Doesn't do very much damage. And now TAP needs to possibly deal with this Minotaur. And that Yamato down there is not really a major threat at this time, but he still has to be careful. Yamato can still overmatch Yamato armor, as well as doing some nasty citadels. Minotaur is taking really big steps in the other direction. Dispersion doesn't really favor him. Doesn't land any actual hits. Does have his back turret and takes a blind shot. Let's see if he actually gets anything from that. Massachusetts showing a lot of broadside to the enemy Yamato. Takes a big hit, and fortunately the Kawa is going to run into TAP here, but that's quite alright. It's not that big of a deal, honestly. And there they have just lost their Zhao and their Montana, and all they have left is 5 ships. Well, okay, make that 4 ships. Versus, let's see, 3 against 9 enemy ships. 4 versus 9. Fortunately, their Yamato is actually going to go down here in a moment, so that is going to get a little bit of breather for them, but they still have a Montana, and the enemy team have managed to capture B and C. Now the friendly team only has 41 points. A battleship that gets killed will instantly lose the friendly team this game. Once again, he's trying his very best to try to get rid of that Minotaur. Yamato is being focused down, and that's when the Montana in front of him shows up, and of course his guns aren't pointing in the right direction, and actually gets incapacitated his guns. So unfortunately that wasn't much in his favor, but he does have to be really careful, because once again there are still 9 ships left alive. Granted, the Yamato's surely going to go down there. He finally goes down, and that has given the friendly team a little bit of breather, brought their points up to 108. They are obviously being detected. Edinburgh being really ballsy right now. Being extremely ballsy with that. Hoping probably for repens, but Citadel, and that is a devastating strike. And this is where it's going to actually starts to become interesting. And as soon as I say that, the Minotaur actually takes out the friendly Massachusetts. Now that's all that's left is the Kaba, the Salem, and obviously Tap and his Yamato. Is aware that there is Montana over in that direction. Does look like he does have his scout plane in orbit in the air, and as long as he doesn't really show his cheeks, he should be fine. Let's see if he can actually deal with this Montana. Now the friendly team really needs to start capping because they are obviously almost 700 points down compared to the enemy team. So they probably do need to actually start focusing down the caps. Doesn't get that actually big of damage against that Montana, only does about 9,000 there. But his secondaries are starting to get the enemy Montana on fire, and obviously the friendly Kaba is doing his very best to cause fires and just spam HE. Now the Salem is still around, and he's actually fairly healthy. That he can actually prove to be really beneficial. So this Montana is going to be obviously the main focus right now. Hopefully they can actually get rid of it. But once again, they really need to push into caps. But they do have to be careful because, as you can see, he is currently being targeted by 4 ships. And there's still a Minotaur, a Montana, Daring, a Worcester, a Massachusetts, and a Alabama still alive. And obviously he is going to be the main focus for the enemy team. Does pop his heal, is going to get a little bit more of his health back. Montana does switch over to HE, which is not a bad idea when dealing with Yamatos, especially when they're bow in, such as this. As long as they can just focus him down, they should be fine. Gets a semi-decent hit, and that's when the Daring shows up almost right off the port side. Does turn in. He can at least take a torpedo, but Daring, oh, what are you doing? Comes out. Didn't even have to do that. Does mean that Tap does take torpedoes, however, he is able to at least start focusing down this Daring with the assistance of his div mate. And look at that, close quarter expert on the enemy Daring. Don't know why the Daring fired widespread, probably just in case Tap tried to avoid them. Let's see if he can finish off this Montana. Montana is exceptionally low in health. There we go, unneeded Citadel. That is kill number 2. Kill number 3, actually. And at that time, the Salem took on the Minotaur and actually rammed the Minotaur, which is interesting. So, in that battle, which was very amusing, don't know why that Daring decided to kind of rush out like that. Didn't really need to. So, hopefully they can actually get back from this. They do need to cap B. Does look like his div mate is going to start to push into B. Now there's still the enemy Montana and the enemy Worcester alive, and he really has to be careful. He is exceptionally low in health, only 22,000 points of health. Montana is over 500 points of health. Honestly, probably at this time, best idea for this Montana is actually to ram Tap right now. Probably his best bet, just to ensure a victory. That's what I would almost do. Citadel's the Montana, but unfortunately his dev mate does go down to the enemy Worcester, and this Montana continues to show broadside. Now keep in mind, the enemy team was very much in the lead. They were 4 ships versus 9, and now it's 1 versus 4. And this Montana, oh Montana, what are you doing? Showing so much broadside. Didn't actually get Citadel'd there, but does mean he's probably going to go down. Gets another fire on that Montana. probably should be able to deal with just one salvo. He uses both. Really think he probably should have just used one. His repair party is actually going to come off cooldown here in a moment. He is detected by the Alabama, but as you may have noticed, the Alabama has not moved a bit since the very beginning of this battle, which does mean, hopefully for Tap's sake, does mean that he is AFK. Finally, repair party is off cooldown. His plane is still on cooldown, so he doesn't quite know where this Wooster is. Wooster does have to be careful. Honestly, if the Wooster was smart, the Wooster would have stayed away. However, the Wooster, well, yeah, came to a stop, probably try to get out of there, gets double citadeled, giving Tap a Kraken and the fireworks on his Yamamoto captain, and that's very fantastic. That does mean he does have extra charges on his, no, sorry, it does mean his guns actually reload that much faster, so he's actually now in the very, very envious state of actually winning this battle and getting solo warrior. All that's left is the enemy Alabama, which we do know is AFK, but we don't know where the Massachusetts is. We have not seen the Massachusetts since he was last spotted on the minimap some time ago. So, Tab is obviously going to start swinging around. Probably going to be a very good idea to push towards C just to ensure that they postpone the points. However, because the friendly team were unfortunate enough not to have enough caps, they are so far down in points that the only way they are able to win in about 2 minutes and 30 is if Tap is able to kill off the Massachusetts and the Alabama, and lo and behold, triple citadels on the Massachusetts, getting him high caliber, and lo and behold, as you're probably aware, Massachusetts is AFK. Just look at this reload. This reload is disgusting. Massachusetts is obviously dead. That is his 6th kill. And this might be a little bit of slaughter. Look at that, half 14-second reload time on these 460mm caliber shells. It's quite disgusting. And right now his damage is just going to be padded up. That is going to be just absolutely disgusting here. And it's just so very much amusing that the enemy team lost this. Like, they had the game in a bag. They had the game in the bag. But I don't know if it was just in the favor of Tap, but they are actually going to win this battle, even though they were down 4 ships to 9 not so long ago. And right now, he's just patting. Oh, look at that. Citadel through the nose. Oh, this Alabama is just gonna be his final kill of the game. So not a bad battle. Actually, fantastic battle from tapstrider here. This end screen, this victory screen is just absolutely disgusting. 790,699 silver, 12,493 XP. He earned Solo Warrior, 2 Devastating Strikes, Confederate, Close Quarter Expert, Dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, and High Caliber. He did a amazing damage, 327,458 points of damage, 9 citadels, 7 kills, 1 captured base, and 53 secondary hits. And this is a great example of the only way you're going to get these fantastic battles is if your team sucks, but their team sucks a little bit less than your team. It's the only way you're going to get these really fantastical battles. He was obviously top of the team with a base XP of 3,693. just look at this damage. It's all across the board. His main guns did 313,025 points of damage. His secondaries did 7,995, and his fires he actually did manage to get was 6,438. My god, this is amazing game. I loved it. I love watching it. Granted, it was very slow in the beginning, but it turned out to be very exciting, kind of in the middle and very close to the end there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.